Just a minute, ladies and gentlemen. I think something is happening.
All right. Our next question is from 1 John 2.26, which I'm going to guess is a Bible reference that I don't know. The most important question, he says, when will Planet X objects be totally visible, where they can not be denied and the government will be forced to reveal what they know? I am aware that they are visible now to people who can see them, but the public at large still doesn't get it. So he wants to know, when are they going to be visible to the point where the government has no choice but to say yes?
I would imagine they will be more visible as they leave, because then they've passed above us and into the light. They've got to be beyond Earth before we can see, because they're dark. We're seeing dark backsides of them, and only the crescent flares and side illuminations, etc. And then now they've done this since 2017-ish, where they've actually gone beyond Earth in their orbital rotation past us in the daily cycles. And we've seen illuminated faces of them. But then also they have atmosphere. So a lot of times what you're doing is you're looking at this big, huge, rounded object with all these clouds around it, which is what Earth looks like also from space if you were be out there. And if you're the farther out you'll be, the more clouds you will see. And so they'll be illuminated when they pass Earth toward the end of the cycle. And someone asked earlier, where are we? When are they going to be gone? And that would be anywhere from the next 3 to 5 years from now, or sooner. We're seeing now illumination directly overhead in the north of Isatum, but then it's completely engulfed in these fire-like little tiny micro flame clouds. It's really cool. And then there will, of course, be some times where we'll actually see the illuminated yellow moon, which we're also seeing illuminated asteroids on the other side of the sun. But that's the answer.
All right. Luna 3015 asks, how do asteroids illuminate if the system is between Earth and the sun? Why are the planets apart from Nibiru not mentioned in the... well, I guess she has multiples. Let's go with, how do asteroids illuminate if the system is between Earth and the sun?
Their static discharge occurs. They build up static when they come, when the larger gas giant and its asteroid group come close to Earth. There's a difference in electrical value, and that causes that. This is where we're seeing the shaft lighting and all these pictures and everything. That's called an ion bleed off, where one body starts to steal ions from another because it's different size and likeness and electrical charge, etc. And then the core valued electrical bodies of these asteroids that are bouncing next to each other could be viewed as hyper-accelerated protons or neutrons, depending on their charge, because you could have actually positively charged asteroids with negative bodies right next to them. And when those become accelerated or enhanced or hyperactivity or whatever between the two bodies, they illuminate. And we've got numerous pictures of, as a matter of fact, I sent you a couple of them. And that was what that video from Russia was the illuminating object cluster group, which we've been watching come in since literally 2009, when it was just a dot in the upper left sky. And it was always bright, and it was always illuminating. And we just had to figure out what the hell that was, which is where we call it. And then eventually, about 2017, we started getting side views of them and close passes and everything else. And this is where we ended up calling it the object cluster group, because it was these clusters of objects. That's where the OCG comes from. And that's what they illuminate, because they're hyperactive between the two bodies.
Like arcing electricity.
Right. Yeah, they become self-luminescent because they become accelerated between the process between the two planets.
Gotcha. Well, this harkens back to our discussion about a fluorescent light bulb, I assume.
Right, it sort of does. Just depends on how you point of view and the size of the object and the gases in between. Because there's gases in space as well, and these accelerated particles have something to, be accelerated upon, and so they illuminate.
Luna 3015 also asked, why are the planets, apart from Nibiru, not mentioned in the Sumerian tablet?
Because it was probably too much information for them to write down. I'm sure that they were listed. The other planets were, and they were, of course, focusing on the gods. And this is, of course, where the demigods live is on Nibiru, and so that's why it was discussed. And then maybe the other races were not subject to mention.
Gotcha. Like if we went to their planet, they'd ask where we're from, and we'd say Earth, right? Is that what you're saying?
Right.
And then she asks, I don't know who this is, but she also asks, would you be open to a debate with Ben from SO or anyone else on the topic of the system? I'm not
Well, I
sure
know
what Ben
Ben.
from SO is.